here, motherfucker!
Low-light techniques for concealed carry are perhaps some of the most important techniques to master and the most neglected due to range limitations and lack of the ability to train realistically. It gets dark every day, and the skills needed for effective self-defense in low light go beyond the fundamentals of the firearm. Proper light is a tool, a deterrent, a force multiplier that can help avoid the need for violence, and if violence is needed, give you a distinct advantage against your enemy. This course introduces and reinforces both handheld and weapon-mounted light techniques and then validates those skills using the simunition system.
Low light night vision, it doesn't pick up color. It tracks movement really well, but it has no depth perception. So if I'm naturally in a dark environment, I have no light source, I'm just using my eyes. Like, how long does it take my eyes to be dark saturated, get adjusted to dark light? How long would you say? Well, they say 30 to 45 minutes, but I would say functional saturation takes 5 to 10, sometimes less. Depending, because let's be honest, how often are you really in a true dark environment? There's no ambient light. I mean, especially if everybody here lives in a city, right? Or someplace urban. Yeah? Like, very rarely do you find yourself in a situation where you'd ever have to become completely dark adapted. Now, there's people out there who live in rural areas where that's a concern. But for us, living in the city, working in the city, shopping in the city, dealing with everything in an urban area, we're never going to have to, I don't want to say never, but highly unlikely will we ever have to become fully dark adapted, because even as soon as we do, we immediately pass a street light, or we catch the reflection off of a window from another light, or a car drives by or something like that, and we have to reset. We also have, like, say I encounter a spontaneous threat, like I come around the corner in a low light environment and I just run into a guy. Like, I'm going to tunnel vision, right? Now, if my eyes aren't dark adapted, or if they're just getting dark adapted, does that make my vision even worse? How do I overcome that? The only way to overcome it is with light. I've got to be able to introduce light into the situation, which is why, you know, again, I'm preaching to the choir. We come back to, you know, always having that light in your hand. It's hard for some of us, especially men, because we try to carry everything at once. We're going to grab all the bags of groceries. What do you do with the light at that point? Do you need the light at that point? If it's dark, you do. And that's just my personal advice. If you're going to be in an area, even if it's indoors, if you're going through a dimly lit parking garage, have light in your hand. If you're going outside just to like check oh, I forgot to get the mail, and you run down to the mailbox, take the light. Even if you're like the porch light almost gets there, you may not need the light to see, but you may end up needing the light if you find yourself in a situation where a guy comes up and like, give me your keys, give me your wallet, whatever. So, or if you're just night sights again, they do serve a small purpose, but it's to me it's almost like a needless expense for a weapon. If you carry an M&P, right? Sometimes. What are you?
Just 1911.
1911. Okay. So you got metal sights, and that's good. Glocks come with those polymer sights, so just throw them away, take them off, throw them away, and replace them with something better. 10-8 sights, Dawson Precision. I have a set of Dawson speed sights. Apparently the front sight's a little thinner, so you have a little more play, so you can pick up things faster. They're not going to be as accurate because you don't have that fine precision you get with a wider front blade. But for me, I don't do night sights. Like, I'll do a night front and then just a solid rear, or I'll do a white front or a green fiber optic or red fiber optic or something like that in the front.
Fiber optics, yes, no?
Yeah. I like fiber optics, but the thing people say fiber optics, oh, they're more fragile. I'm like, yeah, but if the fiber optic breaks, you still have a front sight.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Now, if I were to put Trijicon HDs on my gun, or just Trijicons or True Glows or what have you, they're great, they're bright, but if I can't see my sights, I can't see my threat. If I need light aid to see my sights, that small, like I said, twilight, that small window of darkness and lightness, that mesopic area, or mesopic, whatever you want to pronounce it, that's good for that. But if you've got a handheld light, or you've got a weapon-mounted light, or both, or however you're going to do it, and we're going to get into that, the night sights is just a waste of money. They're nice to have, but if you, like I said, if you use a Glock, just replace the Glock sights with something metal. Something quality made. 10-8 sights are great. I mean, even the Glock OEM metal ones are good. I just wish they would put those on the gun instead of selling them separately. that's probably the biggest one. I've seen some people that they have a shortcut. They'll just use their phone. They'll use the light on their phone, and that's fine just for general light purposes. But if I need to deter someone and it hasn't gotten to the point where I can use my firearm, that's a pretty big issue. Now I've got a cell phone. Everybody's got a cell phone. The light on a cell phone is not sufficiently bright enough to draw anyone's attention or necessarily deter anyone. So we all know how that happens. We observe something, we pick something up, some kind of stimulus attracts our attention. At night, it might be it might be movement. Like we see some movement, so we look at it. That's observation. Orientation, I'm going to hit that thing with my light and kind of orient what I'm looking at. And we know orient, we're going to process through what we know, what we're seeing, but also who we are, our training, our past experiences, the temperature, the time of day, the environment, our physical condition, if we ate, if we're hungry. All these things factor into orientation because they alter our perception. Then we're going to make a decision based on that information, and then we're going to take an action. That's OODA. The only way to bypass OODA is a startle, which we'll talk about. Lack of light is going to affect that process, and it's going to make our decision harder to make. What will also make our decision harder to make is poor input or an incorrect assumption based on the observation. What situation do you think can happen? The whole corner of our eye thing. Do you think you could improperly see something out of the corner of your eye, think it's something that it's not? We've talked about this in other classes.
You see it all the time. You think it's a gun.
Yeah. Cognitive interpolation. Yeah. Our mind wants to take that shortcut. So we see something out of the corner of our eye. Basically what it is if I see something out of the corner of my eye, I think it's a person, I turn its coat rack. My mind filled in the blanks. Based on, whatever it is, it's irrelevant, I think, because I don't think there's a way you'll ever be able to really stop doing it.
We had an alarm.
Doctor.
But that's the better. Your brain will. There's all kinds of psychological.
That's the better way to go.
I like it.
Fills in.
I honestly
rather
think
than thinking it's a coat rack and it's a person.
Yeah, I think go that way. Unless you're the guy who shoots the mirror, Okay. So, actual physical techniques. Like I said, we always want to have that light in our hand when we have an expectation of going into a low light area or we're already in a low light area. Just simple grip. There are some compromises that have to be made, especially in relationships. Like a lot of couples hold hands. That's just what couples do. With the lights in the hand, how do you make that work? Well,
the kids.
Or kids, even. Kids, and that's why I say if you can't have it in your hand, have it as accessible as possible.
Like my wife has a bag, like just like yours, the Max Edition one, and it's, like when she wears it, it's hanging right here, so she can always reach down and like.
Yeah. As accessible as possible. If you can't have it in your hand. Children, obviously, if you got to hold a child's hand, what are you going to do with the light? Well, you can still have it in your hand at the same time.
Well, she can turn it on and it'll hang down and at least like if she's got
it's going to provide a deterrence.
Yeah.
But when it's just you and yourself, it makes it a lot easier. You can just have it in your hand. And like right now, we have decent light in this situation. But do you ever encounter something kind of like this, where it's a little dark, but it's a little light? This is our mesopic light. I can't really see what's in that room. Say that's like a dark corner or something like that. I can just hit it with a burst of light, kind of get a look, and then just keep moving. To someone observing me, what does that tell them? If someone's looking to rob you, or someone knows you and it's like a personal crime or something like that, might someone rethink choosing you as a target if they're watching you and you're just kind of like doing this every time you see something you can't see as you move along? That's a huge deterrence, very huge deterrence, because darkness is always concealment. So if I want to conceal myself and I have darkness available to me, this works for the good guys as well as the bad guys. If I have darkness, I have concealment at all times. If I can tuck myself away into a no light area, that's where I can hide. No one can see me. Now this guy comes along, he's got a light. Darkness is also concealment for witnesses. If I can commit my crime in a low light situation, I'm going to minimize the opportunity for witnesses to get an accurate description of me, what I did, where I went. The light changes everything. If someone sees that you have a light in your hand, it causes pretty significant. Now let's talk about an encounter. If you would, Doc. If I'm in a low light, step right over here. If I'm in a low light environment, I'm doing this for the benefit of demonstration, and I'm doing something, I turn around and the doctor's right here. Boom to the face, and then I'm going to go to his chest. Hey, I'm sorry, can I help you with something? It's as simple as that. What two things just happened?
Blew out his night vision.
Blew out his night vision, and I immediately had light control. I removed his visual horizon. What advantage does that give me? He can't see me at that point. So if, as I hit him in the face, I immediately process what I'm seeing. If I see a weapon in the hand, I'm immediately going to keep that light control, and I'm going to get distance and then go to the gun, if that's what's called for. But say he's standing here just like he is, and I'm like, I hit him in the face, and then I go to the chest, and then I apologized. Do we encounter more people we don't shoot, or more people we might shoot? It's perfectly reasonable that this is a completely innocent encounter. Like, I just come around the corner, run into a guy who's just out doing whatever he's doing. Light to the face, light to the chest. The reason I do that is remove his visual horizon until I process him. And then I'm going to keep the light to his chest so I still have light, I can still see him. And I'm like, oh man, I'm sorry about that. And we can be like, oh yeah, no big deal, just keep moving. Or maybe he's like, hey man, can you give me a jump on my car or something, like whatever the exchange happens to be. And I've had situations where I hit somebody in the face with light. I'm like, hey man, I'm sorry. He's like, yeah, okay. And he just kept right on moving. Strobe causes what's called the Bucha effect. It was discovered in Vietnam by a guy named Bucha. They kept having helicopter crashes and they couldn't figure out why, so they brought this guy in to figure it out. What he figured out is these guys were looking up through the canopy into the rotor blades, and it was causing a strobe effect, and they would kind of lose orientation. Eventually, strobe became like really popular in lights because they say it removes your visual horizon, which solid light does. It makes it hard to orient, which solid light does. And it induces fear, which no one has ever been able to prove. If I'm yelling at you in your native language and I have an extremely bright light in your face and the word gun and I will fucking shoot you or mention, I don't think strobing is going to add or necessarily take away from that fear. Like, you're already like, okay, this guy is pretty serious, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. But strobe has become one of those extra features. They can throw on a flashlight and say, you need this.
Yeah, like for me, I think the only reason, like, this is my like one carry all the time flashlight.
Yeah.
I could see like I'm changing a tire or something,
Here's why, and this is my main reason for not liking strobe. Who's ever been to a club? Got the strobe lights going and everything. What do people look like? They look like they're being paused, right? So, is it possible if you're strobing someone to miss one of their physical actions? Yeah. Or suddenly there's no gun, suddenly there's a gun. Suddenly there's no knife, suddenly I have a hand in the pocket. Under stress, could you not necessarily have a bad shoot, but could you jump the gun a little bit, so to speak? Yeah. Strobe removes visual, gives it back. Removes, gives it back. Removes, gives it back. Whereas a solid light, I see everything. Okay, you remember how I talked about the uses for light? We have navigation, searching, and control. Go ahead and kill that. Okay, right now, where's my really good visual input coming from? We've got some light over here, and we've got some light back there, and that's pretty much it, right? So if I need to know kind of what's in front of me or what's in this doorway over here, I need light. Now, if I'm not feeling threatened, I just happen to need to be able to navigate, I can go low light. Like, is this enough light just to see where I'm going? Absolutely. Now, if there's a threat, if I see suddenly I'm in here for whatever reason I'm in here for, and I happen to come around the corner and I just see a guy standing there, I can go maximum light, and then go to the chest and be like, oh, I'm sorry, man. And then the conversation takes place from there. Go ahead and step forward, will you? So, if I'm moving through an area for whatever reason, and I come right around this corner, and I just happen to run into Josh here, maximum light in the face, and then I go to the chest. And I may keep the maximum light on, just so I can illuminate everything. Just depends on the situation. And then the conversation may take place. Now, if I immediately perceive him as a threat, I'm going to maintain that light control on the face and go to the gun. Do you have any visual input right now?
No.
Can you see my gun?
No.
Can you see me?
No.
But you know where I'm at, right? Because of the light. Now, if I need to immediately say I'm having trouble drawing or something like that, I can kill the light and move. Do you know where I am?
Now that you spoke, but
Yeah, but now that I've spoken, but I'm not obviously going to, Marco, Polo, Marco, Polo, bang, bang, bang. No, that's not how that works. I'm really sorry for using you as my test dummy. But as long as I can get the light in his face, I can remove that visual horizon. His main sensory input to hurt me is vision. So if I remove that from him, I can get my gun out.
A focus drill is a more realistic method to drive skills home in a short period of time. It allows for the processing of a shoot-don't-shoot situation and the learning value associated with it in a manner that gives the student many opportunities to challenge and validate their skills with a focus on one learning objective at a time.
I say enroll, you will turn around, use your light, and deal with whatever you see.
Okay.
Enroll. Enroll.
Mm-hmm.
Enroll. Enroll. All right, so, okay, we got a good hit. What happened?
Turned around and he was immediately in my. He was in my safety zone.
And then what did you do?
I flashed him and then got off the light. And
Yeah,
drew.
you were shooting without light, though. You know
Right.
that, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just be aware of that. Based on the proximity, you probably would have gotten hits. Obviously, you got at least one.
Right.
You fired 3 rounds?
3.
3 rounds? And I only see 1 hit.
Right.
And how far from him were you?
Really close.
Yeah, so it's a good idea to get off the light as soon as possible,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't want to shoot without light.
Right.
So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
You know,
Put the fucking hammer down. Okay, cool.
more light, more light. Always go nice.
All right. Walking.
Lock, keys, and cell phone right now, motherfucker. Right now. Right now.
So tell me what happened.
Well, I was walking, keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
Once I went to the garage and I looked up, I saw the guy standing there. I drew and put my weapon behind my back.
Yeah.
Stepped
Because
back
he
in
hadn't
the
said
cup.
anything.
He hadn't said
He just
anything.
kind of hanging
walked,
out.
and I walked on in,
Yeah.
with the gun back here with my light up. And he opened and showed me his weapon and said wallet, keys, and cell phone.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of fuzzy.
Yeah.
I thought he was going for the gun, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
But when I looked back on it,
Mhm.
and I fired.
Don't fucking move. Don't fucking move. Drop it. Fuck it. Get down. Show yourself. Show yourself. Show yourself right fucking now. Come out. Come out. Show me your fucking hands. Got anything? Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Go. See your hands. Hands. Don't shoot. Don't shoot. Hands. Let me
Be alright. All the way up. Oh!
Get that gun out.
Get your hand off the gun. Hand off the gun. Get down. Get down. Hey.
What do you got?
Yo, man. Why you keep shining at me?
I was just seeing who was there.
Yo, man.
It's cool. I'm gonna go down the stairs. I'm just getting out of here.
Why is it so freaking dark in here? Yo,
No,
you
that's
got
cool.
an extra flashlight.
No, I don't.
Dude,
It's
you have a
cool. I'm
flashlight?
leaving. I'm going. I'm going
Extra?
downstairs. I'm just going downstairs.
Man,
Dude,
come on,
why don't
man.
you chill out? Hey, whoa. We're cool. We're cool.
Yeah, no,
We're cool.
man, it's all
We're
good.
Cool. We're cool.
It's like you got an extra flashlight.
No,
It's
sure
really
don't, man. I'm leaving. Going
It's
home.
really, like, dark
I'm
in
going
here.
home. Look,
Barely-
dude, get away from me. I don't really.
I can like barely see what's going on. in
Okay,
here.
get away.
Yo, man,
Stop.
I'm just trying to
Stop.
get an extra
No,
flashlight.
no,
It's
no
like
excuses.
dark in here, man.
Get the
Like,
fuck
why is it
away.
so
Back the
freaking
fuck-
bright?
Give me all your fucking money! All your fucking money!
Drop the knife. Drop the knife. There's John. Hey.
For low-light skills, range training is a start, but nothing compares to facing realistic scenarios and validating skills in a 3D environment. There isn't a way to get closer to real life than this.